Good morning, Mr. Bhonsle. I hope you're doing well.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm doing extremely well, and thank you very much for getting us here. It's a wonderful environment.
Thank you for being here. And could you please quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm retired from the military about 15 years back. Thereafter, I started my own think tank, Security Risk Asia. So we are essentially looking at the strategic risk and consulting on the Indo-Asia Pacific. That is our entire spectrum. So in this, I think we are looking at security from the very broad perspective and not just the defense and military aspect. Energy security is an important part in this.
I would like to start with the interview. What do you think we can do better to ensure the energy security challenges that we have in our region? What do you think?
Yes, you see the challenges in the South Asian region are in multiple areas. Firstly, this is a developing region. This region has the largest number of people who are in the developing countries, and they require the energy resources in a very big way. They have made spectacular increase in the energy demand in this region. Over the years, India has seen last 10, 15 years around 500% increase in the energy demand. Bangladesh has seen even 1500%. So you can see this exponential increase.
Yeah.
So under these circumstances, we have to integrate our electricity, the transportation, as well as the oil pipeline, gas pipeline grids. Now that is the way to go about it. That's what we have to do, it's not happening, but happening very, very slowly. I would say that the creating this comprehensive energy grid will be the way ahead for South Asia, which we are not able to achieve so far. That essentially is due to a number of factors. First is the political factor. As you know, South Asia is divided politically. The western half, Pakistan, Afghanistan, is not linking at all with the central and the eastern half, that is India, Bangladesh, and the other countries. So that is the biggest challenge as far as the integration is concerned. Now should do is happening on the eastern part, as I said. India, Nepal, India, Bangladesh, India, Bhutan, of course, and also increasingly India, Sri Lanka. So I think this integration is what we have to look at, particularly because the energy challenges are not going to go away. Russian war in Ukraine is going to increase these challenges in many ways. And since India is able to absorb these, I think India should sort of look at, extending some hand. And I believe now India is going to assist Bangladesh in getting the Russian oil, etc., etc. So that's the way I think we have to go ahead, and that's the way the challenges as well as the responses have to be.
So better together, I must say.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I think that leads to my second question, that if we were to cooperate more and if we want to transition to more sustainable resources, sustainable energy resources in the region, which region has the potential of, how do you think we can do that without disrupting the current situation?
Yeah, that's a very important question. Because as I said earlier, the demand for South Asia in energy is increasing every day. So if you have to transition to the sustainable energy resources, we cannot really simply cut off. There cannot be that the coal and other resources cannot be cut off. I mean, that's the demand. Unfortunately, in COP27 also, you would have seen that this demand has come up. But South Asia has got the advantage because we have got very large amount of hydropower resources. Nepal hydropower resources are not exploited. Bhutan hydropower resources are still yet not exploited. So my the way I look at it, we instead of of course we have to ultimately transfer to the renewable energy resources. Precisely. Like the International Solar Alliance, One World, One Grid, etc., etc. But in the interim, we could utilize more our hydropower resources and grid per se. Presently, only 10% or so is gridded. I mean, it's coming to India, from India, coming to Bangladesh and all. Now, if you exploit these hydropower resources, we can create that buffer period. Within this buffer period, then you can continue with your renewable resources programs, and that's the way I suppose we will be able to transfer them.
I think this is a probable solution, to be honest, in my point, like waiting for the renewable energy to come in the forefront whilst using and exploiting the hydroelectric power plants exchanging the energy per se in inter-regional cooperation.
Yes.
That leads to my third question, is that how can we foster such inter-regional cooperation of the energy resources?
Yeah, you see, the point is, as I said, western half is, frankly, there's not going to be a grid. As an analyst, I do not see much spoke of that. On the eastern half, we already have the energy grids, regional energy grids, which is being established. Now you also can establish a proper energy bank. When you talk of energy bank, for example, in certain periods, in Nepal, for example, there's no requirement of the electricity goes down, right? So that requirement, the electricity can be then transferred to India or to Bangladesh or other countries. So this energy bank is something where you store the energy and you can, then sort of give it to that area or push it to that area which requires that point of time when the energy requirement is not there. So that is one idea. The grid is actually very reasonably active now. I think we should make more investments in the central energy grid, which can be distributed in nature, because distributed is always better, or it can be centralized. So that depends on what paradigm now the energy managers or the energy officials and the ministers they evolve. So I think there is a lot of scope for expansion in this, and presently we are only using 10% of our potential, because there is always a concern. What if India suddenly cuts off the electricity because of political reasons? What if so that's why the 10% margin is there. But my mind as a risk analyst, there is scope for increasing to 20 to 30%. So it's not going to be a jump like 300%, but 20 to 30% in a gradual manner. We can really absorb these resources very effectively.
So if that happens, and if we are in future, maybe we have the energy access, as you have said, that we are storing it in bank, and in a way do you think there is a possibility to export it to other regions? Can South Asia become a hub for this?
Well, I think, to be very frank, at this point of time, the potential for export does not exist to my mind. Firstly, because we are, as it is, the net importer of energy. It may be fossil fuels. Even as we are planning to transit to the hydro and to the renewable energy, etc., which we have tremendous potential. But at the same time, our energy demand is increasing. Like if you see this simple example of the data centers. Now the data centers are the biggest consumers of energy.
Precisely.
And South Asia is going to be a hub of data centers, right? So you will yourself, your requirement of the energy in South Asia is so huge, and we are not the net importers of energy. That is one aspect. Second aspect is, whom are you going to export the energy? Southeast Asia, they already have a very good grid, and they have got very big energy producers like the Brunei, Indonesia, and so on. West Asia, already they are the energy is the energy hub of this region. And the Central Asia again is got energy requirement. But where we can really sort of make an impact is in the renewable energy sphere. I'm not saying we export the products of renewable export energy from that, but we can be harvesting or encouraging the people to go into the renewable energy circuit through this affairs like International Solar Alliance, and so we can be the sort of ideal model for people to sort of transit to this. But the physical export, I think I'm not very hopeful of that.
Thank you so much. My last question to you is, what do you think we as a region, we are doing better than the other regions of the world when it comes to energy security and energy conservation and etc.?
Yeah, see, firstly, there is an understanding in the region that we must get together on the energy sphere, which is leading to a multiple number of agreements, and so there's understanding. Conceptually, understanding is very much there, which is not there in many other regions, where there is a conflicted tendency in that. For example, in the eastern half, as I said, is already the energy integration initiatives are taken. Even in the west, you find recently Pakistan was wanting that India should be giving it some power generators, etc., because it is feeling the deficiency of that. For political reasons, it could not be. So I think from the point of view of integration, the understanding and the recognition of requirement of integration, our region is, I think, going ahead in the right direction. Secondly, the transition to the renewable energy. That is another area where you find that our region, the understanding and for the transition to the renewable energy and is going in a very correct direction. And we also have the potential of exploiting the solar energy. South Asia, as you know, has got a lot of solar energy. Every time we are cribbing about the heat and various other things.
Yes.
So under these circumstances, the solar factor, I think, and the renewable energy factor is something which we are doing well. And I think others can emulate our model. And as we go ahead, we will keep doing better.
All right. Thank you so much for being here
today.
Thank you
so much.
And
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for joining us in the conference, and thank you for giving
Thank you, Manjari. Thanks a lot.